Hello, everybody. The whole world focused on American presidential election, which I fully understand, because, as I used to say, it is not just a U.S. election, it's a world election. Because who is going to be the president of America has a strong impact for everybody in the world. Yeah, it's just like that. You can't help it. It's some high power up there had make it like that. Now, this election, we still don't know the result. Yeah, Biden claimed he is now the president, and Donald Trump claimed he has won. The election. So, why? Because there are a lot of unusual things happen during the election, and Donald Trump is charging someone that there must have been some fraud in the election. And I must say, I have been spending a whole night to follow the development of the vote between the two, and I tend to agree that there were fraud, probably not only one place, many places. I give you one example, which for me is clearly, it must be some fraud behind it. And that was, I was watching the counting of votes in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and so on, these swing states. And you could see the curve, yeah, where the number of votes of Biden grow and the number of votes of Donald Trump grow. And Donald Trump was leading all the time. From counting, I think in American time, maybe 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, yeah, and all the way to midnight, it was like that, yeah. And then somewhere in midnight, I don't remember exactly what hour, then they stopped counting for some unknown reason. And after a couple of hours, they started counting again. And now it's interesting. When they started counting again, then suddenly the number of votes of Joe Biden went up like a straight line within 1 minute, I think. Yeah, it increased 140,000 roughly votes. And how many in the same time, same period, the votes of Donald Trump increased? 0. And also all the other candidates from the minor parties, all 0. How can you explain that? Yeah, and also those counting are mainly counting those voted by people coming in person to the voting for the polling station. So how can you, within that short time, 140,000 people came all vote for Biden? It's not logical. And there are many, many other examples, so I'm not going to go through it all. But interesting is, this election, I think when we look at it, it has never been like that. So head-to-head fighting, and that the Democrat side is using all tricks. It looked like that there was a huge mobilization of forces to fight against Donald Trump. Yeah, I know many people gave vote to Biden not because they like Biden, because they don't like Donald Trump. Yeah, but how come? It's really incredible for me. I mean, I have never experienced that almost all media, 90% of American media and also European media are against Trump. I don't know, really. I talked to some of these people. They never managed to explain to me why. Okay, Donald Trump sometimes may say something very casually, yeah, and maybe not always using the nicest way to express himself. But important is what he has done, and no one has been able to explain to me what Donald Trump has done so that it justifies that you hate him. Huh? Nobody. If they say something, then it turned out that they were cheated by lies. Yeah. So how come? And not only the traditional media, also this modern digital social media, all against. You just name it, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all are anti-Trump. And not just a little, terribly anti-Trump. The best example to show that is, that just before, I think it's maybe a few weeks before election, the New York Post exposed the corruption case of Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden, doing a lot of corruption business in China, particularly, also in Ukraine, but particularly in China. His son Hunter Biden got $1.5 billion credit from a Chinese bank, and then all the email, this hard disk scandal, the hard disk Hunter Biden gave it to the repair shop, and they found out there were emails showing very clearly that Joe Biden was involved. He was using your father or the big guys, and they are creating as a thank for Joe Biden helped CCP. People are creating a company where Joe Biden also have 10% of the share, and all this kind of thing. It's really incredible. And now, how come the big tech, although they have so much money, for the money they don't need to do this? Well, you see, I think because all these leaders of the high-tech, big tech giants, they are not eager to make money only. Of course, they do that too. But, I think they are, in a way, obsessed by power. They become very powerful. And, basically, they are monopoly. I mean, there's no really a competitor to Facebook. There's no competitor to Google, They are enjoying a kind of monopoly position. And that gave them a lot of power. I mean, in all this company, they have huge amount of data, the so-called big data. And they spend a lot of money in artificial intelligence. So these two things combined make them to dream about being the conqueror of the world, being the leader of the world. By using this big data they have collected about every person on Earth, and using artificial intelligence, they can really find out a lot of things. They can imagine that they can manipulate even an election, and make sure that the right person become the president, and the right person is the one who is for their interest. And what is their main interest? Globalism. Globalization, that's what they want. And Donald Trump doesn't want globalization. He wants America first. He even encouraged every other head of state to do the same. First, make sure that they fix all the problems for their own country before they talk about the global stuff. This is one thing. But also, this big tech company, they don't like traditional value. Freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly, all these basic human rights. Of course, they claim that they care, but they don't care. We have to judge people by what they do and not just by what they say. I mean, if you ask the CEOs from Twitter or Facebook, they all say, we are for human rights, we are for freedom of speech. Hey, if you are for freedom of speech, why you blocked the information about scandal from New York Post? That is an important piece of information that proved that Joe Biden was, corrupted. Together with the CCP, he's taking big money from CCP, and you block the information. That's not freedom of speech. So look at what people do. Now the question is, how come this giant tech company behave like that? I mean, anti-Trump is not only they, but also I mentioned the traditional media and also Wall Street, But actually what is new that has never happened before is this social media, these digital giants. They are even more powerful. So how come? Well, how come that, even our channel seems to be sometimes having problem with censorship from this company, although our channel is not that big yet, And I know that many CCP critical channel in YouTube, or you're spreading CCP critical information through Facebook and Twitter, you may get a kind of censorship. So this is incredible. And why? I tell you, two reasons, or actually one reason. All these companies are very infiltrated by CCP. Why I say two reasons? Because they infiltrate in two levels. The high-level infiltration and the middle-level infiltration. So high-level infiltration is, all these big tech companies, you can buy their shares. If you have money, you can buy many of their shares, big part of their shares. So I'm sure many of these shareholders of this big company, they are originally from China. They invest as a private person. But who knows? Are they investing really as a private person, or are they doing it on behalf of the party? I'm convinced that many of them, not all, but many of them are doing it for the party. So that's the infiltration on the high level. And this is why in Twitter you have a new board member who is a Chinese woman, a leading expert in artificial intelligence, had become a member of the board of Twitter. And you have another level, a lower level or middle level infiltration. And that is, in America, you have 100,000, or actually close to 1 million students, or if you can accumulate it in the last 20 years, sure, many Chinese students have been studying in American university, and many of them manage to get a very good job because usually they are good in study. And now, after 20 years, some of them has climbed up in the hierarchy of Google and Twitter and Facebook and so on, and become a kind of middle managers. So, and many of these people, they are loyal to the party because the party financed their study, and the party are very good in making propaganda and keeping check for all these Chinese students in America. They are a member of a student association and all this. So, and these people, they help Google, YouTube, and Facebook to make censorship. So this is really a new situation. And now, worst of all is, I even suspect there's a kind of shadow alliance, not official, an alliance between this big tech company, media company. Remember, a big tech company, also a kind of big company, Amazon, is the owner of Washington Post, and the Wall Street capitalist. They have the same interest. They don't want America first. They want globalization. Because they want to make money. It doesn't matter where the money comes from. And maybe some bureaucrats in White House. And behind all this is CCP through their agents. Okay, so this is something that we have to be aware of, because CCP is against our universal value. And if we are not aware of it, we will lose our universal value. And universal value is a major part of our life. If you lose that value, then you are not living a human life. Thank you for today. And if you like it, don't forget to click like and subscribe. Thank you.